Hi, I'm Cynthia Marks. I'm here with Dr. Loren Weiner. Hi, Loren.
Hi.
We're here to talk about the holidays for a few minutes. It's a tough time for people.
It is a tough time, and I think this year may be an extra tough time because we have a lot of families that are divided and haven't, been in agreement for a long time, and this just amplifies the rifts.
Yeah, we're going to be sitting across the table from each other.
Yeah, and we may have really different views on things.
Yeah.
Always, people can have a lot of compassion. I think go into it knowing that everybody has an imprint, right? And so everybody may respond to things going on around them in a different way, may take things more or less personally, may be more agitated, irritable, and less able to be compassionate as well. So I think, again, everybody has to look at their own families, and I truly believe you can ask yourself, is this healthy for me?
And that, do I even want to put myself in this place?
Do I want to put myself in this position? Is there a nice way to bow out? If I make that assessment and decide, I would say, keep in mind who your family is, really. What are they like to be around generally, and are you in a family where you may have some differing views or where people have not historically been that nice to you? That can happen in years that aren't as contentious as this year has been politically. And just to say, do I have to do this? Because a lot of people say, I have to go home. It's the holidays. It's expected.
I'm dreading it.
But I'm dreading it. Or it takes me a week to recover. And in those cases, I would really just encourage people to be really honest and truthful. Don't have amnesia. What's it like every year when you go back? And maybe you don't have to. And I don't think that's a cop-out. I don't think that's running from things. I think there are times when you just also need to say, for my best and highest good, I don't need to keep putting myself in a situation that doesn't serve me. If you do decide to go, so, for some people, look, this is not at all an issue, and okay, go have fun. But for some people, it's not a no, I don't want to go, but perhaps it is, I need to be able to protect myself when I'm there. I want to be there, but I need some ways to think about things. And again, I would just encourage people to sit down and think about, all right, wait, who is my mother? Who is my father? Am I expecting this warm reception when I've never gotten that in my life? So you have to go in there not expecting that and then disappointed and angry and resentful the entire trip that you didn't get it.
Which is, I think, what a lot of us just do year after year. And as you say, there's a certain amount of amnesia that leads us into doing it again and again. And
Right.
is it just that you can maybe look at these people that are your loved ones with more empathy? And how do you gather that empathy?
Look at your own story. Look at their story. Think about their lives. Where did they come from? Would they have been shown how to love? Would they have been shown that they were valuable, worthwhile people? And if you can understand them and their history a little better, at least if somebody isn't so pleasant to be around, you can hopefully try to not take it personally unless you've earned it, in some way, right? You have to be on your good behavior too. You can't go in an immature way, sort of bumping into everybody and then be upset that they're angry with you. But
Right, and your opinion isn't necessarily grander than all.
it is not, right? Everybody gets to have their own opinion. If you're sitting around a table, be respectful. You have to listen. Know that everybody has a reason for choosing a certain way to be, to interact with people, whatever their values are. You have to have respect for that. You also should have compassion for yourself, right? We're all trying to get to a place where we can love ourselves and love each other. I know the holidays are very challenging for people, and I'm not saying just be open and loving and get a bunch of emotional knives thrown at you. Be mindful, but compassionate.
And just know what you're getting into. I mean, you should maybe go in not
Realistic.
having surprises.
Go realistic.
Yeah.
Who are your parents? Who are your parents on a good day?
Yeah.
You know, not on a stressful holiday when somebody's worried about the turkey and the pie and this one's sitting there and those two are going to have a fight and that one gets drunk every year, right? I mean, these are things families go through. And so I think you just have to sort of have a realistic look at everybody and yourself and say, okay, self, you know, can I keep from having that tank me, having that make me feel awful? And can I not, when somebody says something to me, react and start a fight or get sent to the bathroom crying? If I can't, maybe this isn't the year, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be the year.
How do you settle with yourself when you can say that to yourself? You know, I really think it's in my best interest not to go. But then you are guilted. I mean, how do you let yourself still be okay with taking care of yourself and not listening, you know, to your cousin or your uncle
Well,
complain?
that's a task.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to just know you're going to get a lot of guilt because maybe other people don't feel they're entitled to the freedom to also say, God, Thanksgiving is awful.
Yeah.
Like nobody enjoys it. We all get together and nobody actually enjoys this. I think I'm not going this year. And other people maybe don't feel that freedom. They have to go, so you know they will want you to go too.
Sure. And they're going to be pissed off that you choose not
That's
to go
right.
because they're not brave enough themselves.
That's right. And that may happen. Now, there may also, I don't want to ignore the fact that other people may just simply, oh, I will miss you so much, right? You're my one bright spot at that meal, and how sad now that you're not going. So I'm sure it runs the gamut. But I think, yes, you may have people not liking you, but I think this is something we all can learn, which is it is okay to do something you, after searching, truly feel is in your best interest, you know, is taking care of yourself, even if other people don't like it. We all have to see how we feel. You may make the wrong decision, but okay, if you are honestly and earnestly trying to do the right thing for yourself, you have to go with your decision.
And not everybody feels the same way about these events as you do. So what might be miserable or very trying for you may not be for the next
That's
person.
right. That's right. So, you know, in a way, what we're saying is everybody gets to have their feelings and make a decision accordingly. And that is okay. That is fine. We don't have to just do things because they're tradition. In fact, we do a lot of things that are traditional, that do not help us.
We do them without feeling. It's sort of rote.
It's expected.
I feel like a lot of us believe a certain thing, and that's our truth. But we also think that that is everybody else's truth. How do we stop doing that? Because we don't all share the same truth, the same set of feelings, the same ability to love, or the same ability to care about the world. We do it in different fashions. How do we get out of our own space? And I find myself sometimes thinking, oh my gosh, of course not everybody thinks the same way I do. I mean, that sounds like it's a terrible thing to say, but you just get so caught up in your routine that becomes your routine, and you sort of think everybody has the same routine.
We all have a duty to make space for other people's feelings. We don't have to agree with them, but I think you have to try to understand somebody. And certainly somebody sitting across the table from you, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
That there's, so yeah, if that is something you have a hard time doing, I mean, some of that is more conscious, you know, and some unconscious, but at least, yeah, try your best. Why not? Why do you need to not be respectful and thoughtful about another human being?
Yeah, I think that's such a beautiful thing to say, to have space for other people's feelings.
Yeah, I think, and I would want the same in return, right? You know, give what you would want someone to give back to you. That's an old idea, but I think important.
Not only is it the actual holiday, whatever that may be, that so many coming up in the next month and a half or so, there's all the time around the holidays and building up to those days, to building up to what may be, you know, a couple hours out of your year. How do you kind of keep the anxiety levels down.
You may or may not be able to, and I think you have to just know that this is a very stimulating time for people, and what it usually puts a spotlight on is my family is not what I wished they were. My family is not what I imagined they were. I want the Christmas scene. I want the warm holiday table where everybody is loving each other and it's fun and we sing songs and we have hot chocolate and and I don't want to walk into the room and somebody says like, oh, you look like, you don't look good. Did you sleep last night? And it starts that way, right? And I think it brings us in contact with our enormous disappointment and the places where we have to be very frank and just look and say, oh, it may be that my family didn't really know how to love. It may be that my family was so hurt generation after generation that we limp along now, and it just isn't going to be what television tells you it should be. What's you have to ask yourself, well, what is all this anxiety really about? Because I bet it's different for every person going home.
Sure.
What am I really worried about? Will you judge me? Are my parents going to think I was successful enough? Was I a good enough child this year? Did I do enough? Did I bring enough food to the party? Did I dress in a way that was pleasing to you? Or did
I get the right gift?
Did I get the right gift? I mean, there are so many places where we are always looking as babies to see if we have pleased our parent. And did we do it? And are parents willing to even give us any inkling that, yes, I see you, or no, you don't have to come dressed in any way to please me. Be yourself. I mean, this is what these holidays really put a spotlight on, is that most people never had a unique space made for them. Just for them. Come as you are. Be you. You don't have to be me.
But that's close to impossible.
Well, it just isn't what we have, but at least if you know that that is happening and you can have some awareness around that, maybe you don't have to feel as awful if you're not getting what you imagine should be available.
But if I come as me, they don't even know me. They're never going to invite me back again.
That may be.
And then you've got to figure out a way to contend with that. So all along, not just now, we talk about the incredible relief, the incredible amount of real feelings you can have once you undo the trauma that is magnified, I think, during the holidays. You're faced with all of your demons.
The full force of the family all at once.
Yes.
Now, and look, I want to be sensitive. We also have a lot of people who feel the incredible loneliness because maybe they don't have family or they're not able to be with a difficult family, right? That they would give anything to just have that difficult family, right, to be with. We have to all be sensitive to what our neighbors are going through also.
And if we are that person who's lonely during the holidays, what do we do?
Have your feelings. That it is okay to say, I am lonely over these holidays. I wish I had whatever it is one wishes for. And we just acknowledge it.
And it will pass.
It will pass. The holidays do pass for everybody, whether you like them or not. Luckily, they pass. And then I think if you are in a position, one might look and say, okay, well, why was it lonely this year? Are there things, where can I investigate in me?
And if I didn't like the way that felt, where do I go to undo that? Yeah.
That's right. And that's, look, easy, not always easy, depends on the person and your circumstances, but I think also if people can just keep that in mind, and I think they do generally, that there's a lot of people around us that don't have families to complain about and would love to have families to complain about.
Yes.
And I say these things about families, well, they may not have loved you, they may not have this, and that is all true. And that doesn't mean there still isn't some benefit to having a group of people around you, especially if you're lucky enough to have a group who might even change with you a little bit. But we are in groups, and I think often people feel very alienated at the holidays. So we have to pay attention to those people in our lives.
And then there are some of us who are excited about the holidays, have a fabulous, happy time with their families,
Yes.
come away feeling great.
Great, and carry that with you.
Yeah, they're probably not listening to us.
Well, I would say if you are, wonderful, and then I would say maybe your task is to do your best to spread that feeling amongst the people in your life.
Yes, and to recognize that not everybody has that same feeling, which speaks to my concern about making sure we step out of our own beings to get a glimpse of what somebody else is thinking about, feeling about any situation.
In any way where we are too self-focused, be that individually, group, large group, country, open up. There's a whole world out there, and we should all be considered and included.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Same to you.
Happy holidays, and we will see you soon. Thank you.